Alright, hey guys, let's go ahead and here into Bleacher Report with Mr. Zach Buckley and pretty much kind of get his take into the NBA landscape of trade targets for different teams and as we're approaching December time period over here. So NBA trade block, big board, new ideas to deal top 10 targets. Alright, see what we got. And before for me kind of jumping a little more into here, kind of get my take in the NBA landscape of what teams pretty much are in the urgency mode to pretty much make some moves, to make some trades so far. Kind of starting the Eastern Conference, kind of the bottom threshold, the Philadelphia 76ers, I think they're more in a position to where they just need to get healthy and rebuild their team chemistry. Now they are in a frenzy and a mess as of right now, so pretty much not too much on their side. They're more of a team where they could use another power forward, someone who's a big. They need more size on that area because you do have at your four around Caleb Martin at 6'5". So pretty much if you can bring in like a Marvin Bagley to play that four, I think that could help out on that end. But I'm not going to jump too much on Philadelphia. Let me kind of cover some other teams real quick. Washington, they're pretty much going to have to unload some of their contracts. They're pretty much tanking for this year. They're not in a position to where they can win games. So pretty much see if they could expect to move the 32-year-old Jonas Valanciunas for that 3-year, $30 million contract on that end, and then potentially they can move Malcolm Brogdon. He's got 1 year, like around 22 million or so on his side. So pretty much expect those two players, or even Rashawn Holmes, on their team to get moved within the trade deadline. When other in the Eastern Conference, to see the Raptors. They're a mess. They're young. They don't have the right building blocks, so I'm not going to go too much in them. Chicago, I think they just need to blow it up to begin with. They've had that core for way too long. Zach LaVine should be gone. I think a team for Zach LaVine should be the Sacramento Kings, a team that kind of pops to mind. They need to let go of Nikola Vucevic and pretty much build off their team with Kobe White, Josh Giddey, potentially Lonzo Ball. They may look to move him with this offseason, not this trade deadline since he's injured, and pretty much build off the draft within there. The Milwaukee Bucks, they're a team that I expect them to blow it up within this offseason, not this season, but this offseason. They have a lot of veterans on 1-year deals, so they got a lot they got to work with. Number one, their staff is not there in coaching. Number two, they have a lot of veterans with 1-year contracts. Pretty much these guys are older vets, around 30 to 35. If anything, if I'm Milwaukee, if I want to make a quote unquote move, and I don't know if the Clippers would do this, but if you can have a trade package to bring in Derrick Jones from the LA Clippers, and if you can have Derrick Jones starting as your 2 for the Milwaukee Bucks, that would be ideal. Now I'd have to think a little more about the trade package, but we'll figure that out. You know what? Let me just kind of jump in here, and I can get my other thoughts with other teams so we don't cover them. But yeah. All right. Actually, starting with we kind of mentioned him, but yeah, Zach LaVine with the Chicago Bulls. So he's proposing the trade would be surrounded by Zach LaVine to the Denver Nuggets for Michael Porter Jr. and Zeke Najeel. Okay. If no. If you're the Denver Nuggets, you're not going to make that happen. If you're the Chicago Bulls, and if you could pull that off, that would be most ideal. But no, the Denver Nuggets, they already won an NBA championship. Michael Porter Jr. is around 26 years of age. He's 6'10" as your small forward who can play the power forward. And pretty much, I mean, he's a great three-point shooter. He can take you into the hole. He's there on defense as well. But no, Zach LaVine has an injury history. He's about to be 30 years of age. And Zach LaVine is not that complimentary player to where if you're a championship contending team that he can be your third option, potentially. But I would say more for Zach LaVine would probably be a fourth option now. But no, if you're the Nuggets, you're not making that happen. Like I mentioned before, the Chicago Bulls, if they're letting go of Zach LaVine, I think Zach LaVine will be an ideal situation for a team such as the Sacramento Kings. They're a mid-team that has nice pieces, young pieces, but they could use another veteran out there to pretty much make that push into a second-round playoff appearance. Maybe if they have huge aspirations, a conference finals appearance, but I doubt that would happen. But if you're looking at a trade package, you may have to let go of Malik Monk which if I'm the Kings, I'm not letting that happen. But they may have to let go of Malik Monk for that and Kevin Horter. And then maybe potential first round pick with 2 second rounds, something like that. Chicago's in a situation, they got to let him go. Yeah, Malik Monk will be a nice young piece for the Chicago Bulls. But yeah. All right, number 9, Cam Thomas. So I was actually surprised. Around a week or two ago, the Brooklyn Nets stated that they're open to listening to trade ideas and proposals for other NBA teams for Cam Thomas, which is pretty crazy as it is, because Cam Thomas right now, even though the East is weak, the Brooklyn Nets are at a 6-9 record. They're around an 8 seed or so. So if Milwaukee and Philadelphia are still going to pretty much fall in the standings, Brooklyn has a chance where they can make a quote-unquote push. But Cam Thomas this season is giving around 25 points a game and around, 3 assists or so. And he's been a big name for the Brooklyn Nets alongside with Dennis Schroeder. So let's see what their trade proposal is. So Cam Thomas to the Orlando Magic for Jet Howard and a 2028 first-round pick. If you're the Orlando Magic, if you could scoop up Cam Thomas, the Magic would pretty much be a top 2, top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. And right now, I expect the Magic, if they settle where they're at, I expect them to be a top 4, top 5 seed in the East to begin with. But I would have to think about who they include within that trade package for Cam Thomas. I mean, hopefully you don't let go of Jalen Suggs on the team and or Franz Wagner, but that may have to happen. That may have to happen within that. But I think right now the Magic are good where they're at. If they can keep Paulo, France, and Jalen Suggs, and if they're able to retain and get Cam Thomas, then yeah, you make that trade. But looking at this right now, that does not make sense for the Brooklyn Nets to let him go like that. And I'm trying to think here of I'm trying to remember Jet Howard, his stats for this season. I may have to think about that a little later. All right. At number 8, Cam Johnson from the Brooklyn Nets. Now, if you remember Cam Johnson, he was with the Phoenix Suns, I think around 3 seasons or so. And that's when they made that finals appearance. And Cam Johnson was a huge player within their team. He's a 6'8" power forward who can hit it from the outside and the inside. So he's got a lot of potential on his side within there. And Cameron Johnson, he's at 28 years of age, so kind of getting up there. He's got around 3 years, around like $70 million within his contract. But let's see the trade proposal. So Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith to the LA Lakers for D'Lo, Rui Hachimura, Jalen Hood, the young point guard. 2029 first-round pick, 2020, so another pick swap, and 2 second-round pick, 2-round. I'm not gonna lie, it's enticing. Now, if there were no first-round picks or second-round picks as well, if I'm the Lakers, I'm easily doing that. D'Lo's time with the Lakers is pretty much coming to an end. Now, even though D'Lo is fitting very nicely and well as a 6-man for the LA Lakers, but you can still have Austin Reeves and or LeBron James run that point guard position. And you still have Gabe Vincent as backup point guard. So D'Lo's not too much needed. If the Lakers can get some 3D guys, that's huge. And especially getting another big. So having Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith would be most ideal as 3D guys. So you can see a potential starting lineup of LeBron at the 1, Austin Reeves at the 2, either Cam Johnson at the 3, or if they're going to run Dalton Connect at the 3. Ideally, you can have Anthony Davis at the 4, and then at the 5, either you bring in another big or have Jared Vanderbilt, something along those lines. But then off the bench, you can have Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, and or Dalton Connect. So that's a good start with them there. If you're the LA Lakers, yeah, most likely making that move. Yeah. All right, number 7, Jeremy Grant of the Portland Trailblazers. So I expect Jeremy Grant to get moved during this NBA season. He's already been with Portland, I believe, like his 3rd season or so. But Portland's in a position to where, they're at the bottom of the Western Conference, or one of those teams at the bottom. And it's going to take some time for them to rebuild. I mean, Jeremy Grant's around like 30 or so. And the Portland Trailblazers are at a 69 record. So let's see what the trade buzz is. So to the Cleveland Cavaliers, oh wow, for Karis LeVert. Wow, okay. Who would? Oh yeah, easily. Okay, if I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers, that would be the piece that can actually get them to a finals appearance. And I'm not joking about that. That's most ideal because even though Cleveland, as of right now, they're settled within their starting lineup, but at their three, that's something they can improve with on that side. I mean, right now you have either Max Struss can play the three for you guys starting, Isaac Okoro, Karis LeVert, and kind of go on and off. But nah, Jeremy Grant the three right in there, that would be ideal. That would be huge within that team. I didn't think about that before, but no, yeah. If you're Cleveland, um, Portland would ask for more within that. They'll probably want at least 1 or 2 first round picks. But yeah, nah, make that move if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right, let's go a little quicker here with the Washington Wizards. Kyle Kuzma. The Wizards, as of right now, they're at the second worst in the Eastern Conference, right above the Philadelphia 76ers. So I expect Washington to pretty much have the worst record in the East at the end of the season. I always said that, like I said before, Jonas Valanciunas, Malcolm Brogdon, and then Sean Holmes should get moved. Kyle Kuzma is potentially there as well. Kuzma is around 28, 29. He's not that young prodigy that you can bring to your team to quote-unquote rebuild. So, yeah, let him go. Let's see what they have here. To the Clippers, PJ Tucker, Nicholas Batum, Bones Highland, and a first-round pick. Number one, if you're the Clippers, you easily do that, especially since Kawhi Leonard's going to be gone here pretty much in the next year or two or whatever. The Clippers would actually have to give a lot more for that because if you're the Wizards, that's not the case. I'm trying to think of a good team that would be ideal for Kyle Kuzma. That could use a starting three. He could play the four, but his natural position is a three. Let me think real quick. Maybe the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't know if he really would fit too ideally with their culture. I think he'd probably have to be in a team in the Eastern Conference if it's not the LA Clippers in the West. Um, I don't think he really has a team that could really quote unquote fit for him like that. Kyle Kuzma, he's kind of one of those boneheaded players that's lackadaisical, but he has a lot of potential. But now again, he's about to be what's he like 28, about to be 29. Yeah, I can't really see another team for that, but all right, Jonathan Kuminga. No, I don't think the Warriors are not touching anyone on their team. If anything, they're going to bring in another big. But let's see what they have here. Okay, so Jonathan Kuminga, Andrew Wiggins, D'Anthony Melton. Remember, D'Anthony Melton's out for the season. Brandon Pozinski. Geez, all right, who are they going for? It's first round, second round. For Jimmy Butler and Kevin Love. No, you don't make that trade. Jimmy Butler's like 35 years of age. He's got 1 year left of his contract. The Warriors this season, why they're winning, Steve Kerr's implemented a 12-13-man rotation. These guys are getting around 20 to 30 minutes a night. And Steph Curry's averaging like 23 points again this season. So you don't need a Jimmy Butler on the team, especially a Kevin Love. Kevin Love has like around 2 seasons before he retires. No, that's too much of a headache. Don't do that. Jimmy Butler's... No. Kuminga, Wiggins... No, that's too many pieces. I'm not doing that if I'm the Warriors. Trae Young with the Atlanta Hawks. Actually, Atlanta's in a position to where if you told me last season to trade Trae Young, I'd be like, okay. But now I actually think they're more settled as of right now. Even though they're at a 7-9 losing record, they're at a 6 seed. So if they can pretty much make some minor improvements, they should be in that play-in tournament. Hopefully, could get a playoff appearance within there. But let's see. It's always about Trae Young and the LA Lakers talk, man. It's too much. Trae Young, Cody Zeller for D'Lo, Rui Hachimura, K. Vincent, yada, yada, yada. No. If you're the Atlanta Hawks, you're not doing that. That doesn't make any sense. If you're the LA Lakers, I could see them pull the trigger, especially since they're done with D'Lo. I mean, it's not... it's not like a big thing to have the Lakers with Trae Young, but because we already see that 3-star tandem with the Lakers before and how they didn't really have a bench and that didn't work out. But yeah, I mean, this is the trade right here. I mean, I'll pull that trigger if I'm the Lakers. But the Hawks, that doesn't make any sense for them. They can get better package for Trae Young for picks as well as a young player. All right, the Pelicans with Brandon Ingram. Pelicans right now, they're like at what are they? They're either the bottom of the West or the second. They're right there with Utah and Portland, but they've had numerous amounts of injuries. The Pelicans, I have stated, when fully healthy, they just need to bring in a big. They need a starting center. So if they can make a trade for Jonas Valanciunas, honestly, I'd say the main player, if they could potentially try to get, is Nicholas Claxton. And since the Nets don't really want to let go of Nicholas Claxton, you may have to try to include Nicholas Claxton bundled with Ben Simmons within there, which I actually think Ben Simmons could be a really good fit for the Pelicans anyways. But let's see what they have proposed. Brandon Ingram to the Charlotte Hornets for Grant Williams, Josh Green, Nick Richards, and a 2027 first-round pick. Come on, man, these trades are not there. The only trade that I did like was, I believe the Portland Trailblazers one. They could throw another first-round or second-round pick for Jeremy Grant, but no, let's see, if you're the Hornets, you get Brandon Ingram, that's huge to pair with LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. But no, the Pelicans would never accept this. That this is a joke of a trade, especially for Grant Williams, man. Come on, bro, get out of here. Now, if you're the New Orleans Pelicans, guys, they need, man, if they can get Nicholas Claxton with Ben Simmons, now you're really talking. And you can have CJ McCollum play the two coming off the bench as a sixth man, then the Pelicans could finally make some noise. But management for the Pelicans is just boneheaded, so whatever. Back with Jimmy Butler with the Miami Heat. Let's see what we got here. And there was speculation of Jimmy Butler leaving the Heat after the season and potentially going to the Brooklyn Nets. There was talks of potentially the Golden State Warriors. I actually think a good position for Jimmy Butler that makes sense, being at 35, is pretty much, I mean, you're not going to stay with Miami. I mean, the writing's on the wall within there, but he may go to the Brooklyn Nets to pretty much get like a 3-year, max contract and then finish out his career getting paid, making that team, a playoff, appearance or so. Because I believe Ben Simmons will be off the books for the Brooklyn Nets, which is like $40 million. So if you can take out Ben Simmons, bring in Jimmy Butler, I think the writing's on the wall for that. But yeah, I mean, I don't really see Jimmy Butler going to another big team. I think his time with Miami's done with anyways. Let's see what we got here. To the Houston Rockets for Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith Jr., Steven Adams. No, if I'm the Houston Rockets, I'm not touching my young core at all. I'm not doing that. And even Steven Adams and Dylan Brooks around 27 to 30, around in that range, I'm not trading those guys away, man. The Houston Rockets are in a great position. And I always said, beginning of the season, I expect the Rockets to finish around a 4th or 5th seed. I said they would be one of the dark horse teams, to be very underrated. And look, they're at a 3rd seed. They're 1 game away from the number 1 seed against the Golden State Warriors. They're at an 11-5 record. The Houston Rockets are going to be a team to look out for. Them and the Magic are pretty much complementary of underrated underdog teams. So I'm not touching anything. And the last one here, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo with the Milwaukee Bucks. They're not going to trade Giannis. If anything, after this season, they'll evaluate if they made the playoffs, how far they went. And then if they have to get rid of the coaching staff, and then they'll evaluate Damian Lillard's mindset and such. But this season, they're not trading Giannis. But let's see what they have here for the Buzz. To the Oklahoma City Thunder, wow. Isaiah Hartenstein, Casey Wallace, Nikola Topic, blah, blah. No, that's a joke. If anything, if the Thunder did make that trade with the Bucks, Chet Holmgren would have to be included. Him or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander would have to be included. Isaiah Hartenstein cannot be your head case coming into. Listen, even though the Thunder have the picks, I'm not trading my young core at all for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis is, even though he's in his prime, actually, it looks like he's in his back prime now, slowly but steady. He cannot lead your team deep in the playoffs anymore. He cannot get you those quote-unquote wins in the regular season consistently. Now we've seen with the Bucks. The Bucks right now are climbing in the standings. They're at the 11th seed at a 6-9 record, and Giannis has to give you around 40 points a night for them to barely beat these teams. No, Chet Holmgren is going to be a future he could be a future MVP. Keep your eye out for that. He could.